Hey everyone, today I'm going to review the UPERFECT X Pro Lapdock. This is a portable external touchscreen display with a built-in battery. So this display is actually designed for use together with a phone that can output a desktop user interface. Now this review is going to be a bit long, so if you want to save time, you can check out the text review that I have already written. The link is in the video description below. And my review will be split into two parts. For the first part, I'll be telling you whether or not this is good for the target audience this is targeted at. Basically, people on the go who are using their phone for most of their computing needs, but for some reason don't want to use their laptops because they don't have one, or they just prefer a setup like this where they can get an external display to connect to their phone, and they can also use this external display together with their computer or other devices. And the second part of my review is I'll be telling you whether or not this display is good enough for graphic design work. This, by the way, is a review unit from UPERFECT. Alright, let me just give you the bottom line up front. Before you buy this display, make sure that whatever device you are using, whether it's a phone or tablet, it's able to output video signal and it has the desktop mode. Otherwise, it's just going to mirror whatever's on your phone. Alright, so the design of this display looks good. Colors look great out of the box. Build quality is solid. It's excellent. The touch screen works well and finger gestures are supported. The keys on the keyboard cover are a bit plasticky, but overall typing experience is alright. This trackpad is a bit small and the clicks are a bit too stiff for my liking. Overall, it performs as advertised. It works without any glitches. The two main downsides for me would be the trackpad, which you may not need to use because it has a touch display and this display is too reflective. Now, if you already have a laptop, then it may not make any sense to buy this because you can just bring your laptop and your phone out. But if you don't have a laptop, then this will provide you with a mobile computing setup. The price at the time of this review is US $599 for the 4K model, and for the 1080p it's $549. So in this case, since the price difference is just $50, it doesn't make sense to buy the 1080p model. These are all the items included in the box. This is the USB-C charger with double flat pin. You can also choose the country-specific plug on the order page. There are 4 cables included. 2 USB-C to C cables, 1 USB-C to USB Type-A cable, and 1 mini HDMI to full-size HDMI cable. This is the back of the display. As you can see, the design is very clean and simple. There are 2 speakers here. The speaker holes are really small and the speakers are not that powerful, so audio quality is not good. And because the speaker is behind the display, the sound sounds quite muffled. I'm not sure what material they use for the body, but it looks and feels like metal. The build quality is excellent. It's very solid. There is no flex at all. And there is this nice matte texture on the surface. And you can see there is no UPERFECT logo on the back as well. This stand is also very nice. The hinge here is very stiff, so you can use the stand to deploy the display at any angle very easily. And as you can see, this display is quite thin. This is about 0.5 centimeters. The bottom part here is thicker. This is about 0.8 centimeters. On the left side of the display, we have this button and toggle for the OSD. This USB-C port is OTG on the go for connecting to other USB-C devices. This does not support video input. We have a 3.5mm audio jack here. On the right side of the display, we have a USB-C port for charging the battery, which has a capacity of 10,000 milliamp hours. And this USB-C port is for video input. You cannot use this port here for video. You can only use this one here. And this is a mini HDMI port. This is how the display looks from the front. Again, very interesting, there is no UPERFECT logo. So this display is glossy and it's very reflective. If you want to use this outdoors, it's best to adjust the display at an angle or in the direction so that there are no reflections on the display. The keyboard cover is attached to the bottom of the display using some rather strong magnets. That's the connection there. If you don't need to use the keyboard, you can just remove it, but since this is a keyboard cover, it's meant to protect the display. This is a full-size keyboard with a medium-sized trackpad. This texture here is matte. The typing experience is alright. The keys, they have good travel, but the keys, they feel a bit plasticky. Anyway, the keyboard is very functional. The brightness controls here are for the phone, tablet or computer that you are using. There is no backlight for the keys. The arrow keys here are full size and this shift key here is squash, so whenever I try to press the shift here, I always press the up arrow by mistake, accidentally, and home, page up, page down, and buttons are here. This is a very typical Windows keyboard layout. This can also be used with Android as well. The trackpad is a bit stiff but serviceable. There's left and right clicks. The palm rest is thicker compared to this part here, and it's quite comfortable to rest your palm on this area here to type. This is how thin the keyboard cover is. The weight of the display and the keyboard is 1.41 kg, so this weighs about the same as 15-inch or 14-inch laptops. Most of the weight actually comes from this display because this is quite heavy on its own due to the material they are using for the display. Bezels are quite thin at the top and on the sides, much thicker at the bottom. Now the colors on this display look great out of the box. Using a Spider 5 Pro color calibrator, I measured color support for 93% sRGB. So anything above 90% sRGB to me is considered pretty good in terms of color accuracy. You can probably get higher sRGB coverage if you go into the OSD menu to change some of the settings. So by the way, these controls here are touch sensitive, so it's really convenient. One important thing to note is this display actually has pulse wave modulation. So for people with sensitive eyes, you may be able to detect the flicker of PWM. PWM flicker will be more noticeable when you lower the brightness to anything under 100%. Now personally for me, I am not able to see the flicker in the real world, but my camera can actually capture that, and that's what you are seeing right now. If you want to use your phone as a desktop, please check to make sure that your phone actually has the desktop mode, because not all Android phones have desktop mode. So if your phone doesn't support the desktop mode, then this is probably what you are going to see. It's just going to mirror your phone's screen if your phone can actually output video signal. So here, for example, I'm connected to the Samsung Note 20. Now it's showing the phone interface. To change it to the desktop interface, I actually have to go into the OSD and tap this battery button here. So now the interface has switched to the desktop interface. So when I tap that button there, it would also deliver power through this USB-C cable to the phone. It's going to charge the phone as well, which also means that it's going to drain the battery of the display faster. So it would be good if you can actually connect this display to an external power source, if you can. Now this combination of phone and display, for some reason, if I don't tap on that battery icon there, it will just show the phone interface, so I actually have to tap the battery button. With some other external displays that I have used, I can just connect to the display and it will just power on. Those are displays that do not have internal battery. Anyway, I have a Samsung tablet as well, and I could connect that tablet to this display without the battery toggle on or off. By the way, at 100% brightness, I measured 260 nits, so this display is sufficiently bright. So this is a touch screen. You can use your finger to open apps, to drag things around. So let me just show you. I'm going to try and resize this window using the mouse, basically just to tell you that it's difficult to click and drag. I mean, you can, but it's difficult because the click here is a bit stiff. So if you want to click and drag the window to resize the window, it's actually easier to just use your finger. So the touch features, they work really well. You can zoom in and out, you can pan and scroll. There is no right click though. So if I double tap on the display, nothing happens. So there's no right click. If you want to use a right click, you can use the trackpad. Just double tap. Use your finger to double tap and you get the contextual menu. Now for this particular phone that I'm using, it is only able to output video resolution up to 1080p. With my Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, it's able to output resolution up to 1440p. So if your device is not able to output more than 1080p, then it doesn't make sense to buy the 4K resolution display. The type of finger gesture support will also depend on the apps you can use. With this app, which is called Concepts, you can actually rotate as well. And also I can use 3-finger tap for shortcuts, depending on whatever shortcuts you can configure. And if you want to, you can actually write as well, but the writing experience is not that great. Even if you write with a stylus, the writing experience is not that great. This UPERFECT display works great as an external monitor for graphic design work because, as mentioned earlier, the color accuracy is quite good. And because the resolution is so high, at least with the 4K display, all the visuals look really sharp. User interface elements like the icons, the menus, the text, the palettes, they are all going to look very sharp. There is no pixelation. If you're buying this to run this at 4K resolution, you better make sure that whatever device or computer you are using is actually powerful enough to drive 4K at 60 Hz smoothly. This setup that you see here actually doesn't make any sense because this is a laptop which already has a keyboard. So in this case, if I need an external display, I would get one without this. However, if I'm actually, if I'm an office worker who uses a phone like some of the Samsung phones which have the Samsung DeX, the desktop mode, then it makes more sense to get something like this, provided that I don't already have a laptop. Battery life is around 4 hours if you use the display at 50% brightness. The battery life will be longer or shorter depending on the brightness you use. And the battery life indicator will always be there at the corner even if you play videos or movies at full screen. Having an internal battery is actually quite useful because sometimes you don't really want to drain the battery of your phone or tablet. And if you want to, you can power this display using an external USB power bank as well. Alright, to conclude, this display, it works well, it works as advertised. It's a bit pricey though compared to other portable displays out there. And it's a bit pricey compared to even UPERFECT's other options here. But the main selling point for this UPERFECT X Pro is it comes with the keyboard cover, the built-in internal battery, and it has a touch screen. Let's compare the UPERFECT X Pro to some of these 15-inch displays that UPERFECT is selling here. So this model is Full HD, US $255. It's significantly cheaper, but it does not have touch screen, and this case here looks very flimsy, and it doesn't have a keyboard cover. And this here also has a flimsy case. I know it's flimsy because I have a few external displays with this flimsy case. And this does not have a touch screen as well. Most of these displays do not have touch screen, and almost all of them don't have built-in internal battery except for the X Pro. So if you are actually going to use your phone or tablet with these displays, you can. But your phone or tablet's battery life will be drained much faster because it has to power the display. If you really want to save some money by going with some of these options here, I recommend you get a display that supports at least 100% sRGB and get a display that has a built-in stand behind that allows you to adjust the stand at any angle. If you see a stand like this, just avoid it because this is very flimsy. So if you get a display like this, then you will have to bring along a keyboard and a mouse if you don't have a touch screen. So it may be a bit cumbersome to bring like all the things around. And also, as mentioned earlier, your phone and tablet will be powering the display. It's going to drain the battery life quite fast. But the thing is, some of these displays can actually be powered by external USB power bank, but that's again something extra you have to bring along. You don't actually have to bring along a mouse though, because you can use your phone or tablet as a trackpad, so you may not need to get a touch screen display. So you can decide whether or not this is worth your money. As mentioned earlier in the video, if you already have a laptop, then it doesn't make sense to buy this because you already have a laptop that allows you to work outdoors, unless your laptop is significantly heavier compared to this setup here, which is 1.4 kg. So this is good for people who want to keep all their computing needs in one device like this. Alright, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. I hope this review is helpful. See you again. Bye.